Recorded. All yours.
All right. I'm going to be speaking tonight about a fellow named Henry Stinemetts and his folk art covers. Todd is going to run the show because we got together in advance and I was having a problem controlling it from my end. So next slide, please. I'm going to cover Henry's early years. He was sort of a Renaissance man. I'm going to explain how I got introduced to Henry Stinemetts and his covers. I'll talk about the covers themselves and show some examples. Next slide, please. He was born in 1878, grew up in Nebraska and Wyoming. He worked for a famous ranch near Sheridan, Wyoming called the PK Ranch, 7,500 acres. Ranch is still in existence. It was purchased in 2001 and the old buildings were restored. Supposedly it's a magnificent example of a 19th century Western ranch. And just in case anyone's interested, it's currently on the market for $64 million. William Cody, used to come into Sheridan to the hotel and hold auditions for his show. And Henry Stinemetts hooked up with him and got selected to join his Wild West show. He became the PK Kid, and he toured with the show from 1899 to 1913. He was a very skilled horseman, marksman, and roper, and his sort of specialty in the show was trick roping. In 1913, William Cody sold the show, and Stinemetts moved to the Dales in Oregon, and his first job there was as the last stagecoach driver, the driver for the last stagecoach serving that area. Next slide. While he was there, he published an article in the Archaeological Bulletin on the nearby Indian village. It's an old Indian site near Willamette Falls on the Willamette River in Oregon. It had been indigenous spot for ages. It was a traditional fishing spot, and this area is also the final stop on the Oregon Trail. He was a man very interested in history. Next slide. He moved to Canada. While he was in Canada, he came up with an idea for a novel automobile rim, and he got a US patent in 1920. He moved to New Mexico and started a tire vulcanizing business. In the 1920s, the tires weren't very durable, but there was a process whereby you could cut out a piece of the old tire, put raw rubber in with the right ingredients, sulfur and so forth, heat it up and vulcanize it. It would make all the polymers cross-link and you'd have a durable repair. And so he was in the essentially tire repair business for a few years in the 1920s. Next slide. In 1924, he left the West and moved to downtown Los Angeles in the Hellman Building, which was a residential and commercial building right downtown, about a block from the old city hall. Must have been quite the change going from Wyoming and New Mexico to downtown LA. That picture on the right is downtown LA at about that time. That's a picture of Henry doing some trick roping when he lived there in Los Angeles. He became a custodian for the building and was a custodian for many years. And it was there he got started in his postal cover career. Next slide. I got introduced to Henry in about 2021. I moved to Boston in 2017 into Charlestown. I'm a few minutes walk from the USS Constitution and got interested in the ship and began collecting covers that were canceled aboard the ship when it made its national tour, 1931 to 34. After it was restored in the late 1920s, it did a goodwill tour of the United States to thank the American people for funding the restoration. And it traveled down the eastern seaboard, um, across the south through the Panama Canal, up the Pacific to a little bit beyond Seattle, and then turned around and came back. It was towed by a minesweeper. That was a 3-year trip, and it made about 90 stops. And every one of those stops, Chamber of Commerce or the stamp clubs or individuals will put out covers and have them canceled at that stop aboard the ship. And so it's a very prolific area for cover collectors who want to specialize in something like this. There are thousands of different covers that one can collect. When I got interested in the Constitution, I joined the Universal Ship Cancellation Society, the USCS. They have a monthly publication called The Log, and I ran an ad in The Log seeking to purchase Constitution covers. And I got a call, email rather, from a woman who wanted to sell me her Stinemetts covers. So that was my introduction to Henry. And turns out I was buying the covers from Carolyn Sanders, who is, along with her husband, the definitive experts on Henry Stinemetts. They've written 3 articles for the Log over a period of 3 months, which covered his life and covers. Most everything I'm speaking about today comes from their research on Henry Stinemetts. Next slide. His cover style has typically been called showman folk art. You'll see when I show you the covers in the next couple of minutes, they were highly decorated covers. He put stickers and items that he carefully cut out of paper and advertisements and postcards and wrapping paper and magazines, even used cloth on the covers. Recall he was the building's custodian, so the trash can near the mailboxes was probably source of much of his inventory. The next slide. Here's an example of showman folk art. This example is from late in Henry's career, 1958. I can't use my pointer, but I'll try and explain a few things with words. Henry's style was to decorate the heck out of a cover. He always decorated, most always decorated the corners. In this case, he's on the left is a Valentine's heart that he's cut out. Those 3 young ladies, those separate cutouts. The decoration in the middle, he's cut out the oval of that young woman, put her on top of the heart. He's added a rose at the top. He's added 2 hearts at the bottom. He's has a sticker or a cutout on the right. He's put designed by a colored block behind the stamp and a colored block behind the address. If you look at the stamp, even the stamp is recycled here. The stamp and cancellation are from 1939, USS Saratoga. So Henry cut all this stuff out, created this. On the other side of this, which I don't have a photo of, is 1958, where he posted it. This is very typical of Henry Stinemetts and his folk art designs. Next slide, please. They're usually divided, his work is divided into 3 phases. Phase 1, 1929 and 1933. These were covers which were mainly aviation covers, a fair number of naval covers, and some miscellaneous events. They were all decorated by Stinemetts, with their cached by someone else. So Henry would decorate these covers. He would send them off to the sponsor to be cached and canceled at the event or location, and they would send them back. He never knew exactly what the cachet color would be or how big it would be, so it was a little bit of a crapshoot when it came to his covers. These are ones that worked out well. There are some misses as well, and we'll see some examples of those later on. So these are his early covers. He decorated them, but someone else cached them. Next slide. Phase two, 1933 to 55, 20 plus years. A lot of naval covers, events covers, and a fewer number of aviation covers. This era, he often used a lot of poems and witty sayings. The cachets were decorated and cached by Steinmetts, but oftentimes someone else did the artwork. 1937, which covers this second phase, was his most prolific year. He made 13 covers that year, 13 different covers. The one on the left, it's small on my image here, but if it's large enough to see on your image, I'll let you read it. It's a poem he wrote, a pretty simple poem, but it's his work commemorating the end of Prohibition. And he happened to sign this when you can see the signature in the center lower bottom there. The one on the right is one he cached. Someone else did the artwork, and he had the cover printed. You can see he was not a modest man. He wrote there that he was the owner of the world's finest cover collection. This is the first one with his own artwork. Next slide. Phase three, 1955 to 1960, often called the Hemet style. In 1955, Steinmetts moved from Los Angeles to Hemet, California. Hemet's about 90 miles west of LA and a little south. It's on the way to Palm Springs. And he was there till the end of his life. I don't know exactly when he died, sometime in the early 1960s, I believe. This phase three was fully decorated covers. He either used a colored envelope or he put paper on the envelope. That one on the left is the one we saw before, the Valentine's slide. The one on the right is a Christmas slide. Again, colored backgrounds behind everything, outlines around things, highly decorative, very folk art. Next slide. Some more phase three ones. These often involved decorating old covers. These two covers are old covers from the 1930s on the left and 1940 on the right. He took those old covers. They may have been decorated, they may not, but he added new material or decorated them. And some of them he posted, some of them he kept for his own collection, some of them he sold. Who remembers Old Dutch Cleanser? Somehow the woman on Old Dutch Cleanser logo became part of the rooftop scene on that Christmas one. Next slide.
Also on the back of the slide. Two
I'm sorry.
Back.
Was there a question on this slide? I didn't understand.
I'm saying there are two old Dutch cleansers sitting in the back of the sled.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Here's a couple examples. These examples were from the earlier phase, second phase, aviation ones. The USS Macon, the US Navy's dirigible on the left and a seaplane on the right. Next slide. A Thanksgiving cover on the left, a St. Patrick's Day cover on the right. That on the one on St. Patrick's Day, that right hand, that oval on the right-hand side was cut from a postcard. Henry also was a big postcard collector. He collected thousands of postcards when he was touring the world with Wild Bill Cody. And And some of those cards and some other cards he picked up later on, some of them ended up, pieces of them ended up on his covers at different times. Next slide, please. This is the largest cover ever made, 14.5 inches by 9.5 inches. It was a gift to a woman who was a friend and helped him with his covers. This is a cover from 1936, 160th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Next slide. Sometimes his creativity caused problems. That one on the left, a Christmas cover, he covered the envelope with this winter snowflake scene, having no idea exactly how it would be cached. But when he sent it off to the sponsor and it cached, you can see that that background makes the cachet essentially illegible. That cachet is actually Santa Claus with some children. The one on the right, he took a cork blotter and covered the envelope with that. Sent it off, it got cached, but unfortunately the blotter absorbed the ink, so it's also illegible. There were some misfires, that's for sure, but many of his covers, they worked out quite well. Next slide. Here are some of my Stinemetts covers. These are from the USS Constitution's national tour. The one on the left is from San Pedro. One on the right is kind of my pride and joy, 9 inches by 7 inches, canceled in Oakland, California. And that's Commander Hull, Isaac Hull, the first commander of the USS Constitution, on that cover. Next slide. A couple more examples. These from Washington State, from Everett, Washington on the left. These are patriotic covers, patriotic themed covers, and the one from Anacortes, Washington on the right. Again, colored backgrounds behind stamps, sometimes with shapes. One on the right has a heart shape behind the stamp. Stickers, cutouts, what have you. These two happen to be embossed. I think you can see them there. I believe it reads APS. So I think what Henry did is he had, I assume that's American Philatelic Society. And I assume he had unless APS sold embossers for their folks who collected, he must have had that made and embossed some of his covers as well. Let's see, I think that's my last slide. What's the next slide there, Todd? Yep, that concludes the presentation. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
It's
Had to get off mute. Thank you.
Thank you.
stamp
It's
that
great. Thank
the
you.
post that you used didn't have any necessarily have anything to do with the cover itself. You know, if he had a Valentine, he didn't necessarily have a stamp that was about Valentine and Thanksgiving or that type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of times the covers complement whatever the stamp is. There doesn't seem to be any connection at all.
I'm not that I don't seem to think that not that I can recall that he tried to connect the stamp to the general theme. I guess I don't know for sure, but it's never struck me as something he concentrated on.
Dennis, I had a very basic and fundamental question, so pardon my ignorance here. But you said he decorated it and sometimes sent it to someone else to be cached.
Mhm.
What does that mean exactly? I don't understand the meaning of cached. I guess I always thought a cachet was essentially an envelope.
The cachet is a design put on the envelope by the sponsoring organization. So when
I see.
the it can be printed, it can be stamped. The old days they used a process called thermography to put a thermal image on the cover. Um, the Henry's designs aren't really the cachet. Um, the cachet will typically on the left side of the envelope, and it will be the commemoration of whatever it is that particular cover is memorializing.
Oh, I see. And then he would put his piece, the centerpiece or the eagle to the right. That would be him.
Yeah. Now this one is one that Henry did completely. So, in my view, I guess um, the the image on the left is the cachet, and everything else is sort of a decoration.
I see. And then typically the address, etc., would be on the reverse of the envelope.
No, the cachet is typically on everything is on the front of the envelope.
Oh, so that's the address down there in the bottom right?
That's correct.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Let's see if there's another one that actually shows there. Here we go.
Yeah, that's an example.
That's a
Okay.
good. So that's the cachet, right?
Yep.
The ship, and
And
the address is down here.
yep.
Okay.
And so
everything
this one
else-
was one of those where Henry decorated it. He sent it off to Harry Moore, who was the mail clerk aboard the USS Constitution. It was sent off to the city ahead of the Constitution's arrival. The mail got collected and delivered to Harry Moore aboard the ship. And so when Henry sent it off, it had everything on that stamp from the eagle, or everything on that cover from the eagle to the right.
Mhm.
And aboard the ship, Harry applied that cachet on the left, which
Because you
was
can
the
see how
cachet
it you
for
can see how
sandpaper.
it overlaps the eagle a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. And so you're saying the cachet is typically applied. How is that applied? Is that painted on or
It's any
no?
way and every way. Nowadays,
Okay.
it's typically printed.
Okay.
I was a cachet designer for 3 covers for for our USS Constitution philatelic group, and I had them printed here in Boston. I designed the covers, and then in some cases I had an artist tweak them. Some cases we used my design as it was. I contracted with them, and they printed out 100 covers for me. In that case, I
There it is. Here's the pointer.
and but they can be hand painted, they can be stamped, um, they can be printed, they can be used stickers. Most covers nowadays are printed,
Okay.
but all kinds of possibilities.
Okay.
I gave a presentation, I think it was last year or the year before, on my Lewis and Clark covers,
Yes, I remember that.
and
Yeah.
those were designed by a single artist, the fellow Collins, who sponsored those cachets. Those were his cachets. He contracted with the artist. She did all of the covers. I think there's 45 in that series, showing different days, different events during the Lewis and Clark expedition. And then he took all those designs. They were digitized. They were printed, and that's how those came about. But nowadays it's usually kind of a team effort.
That Lewis and Clark presentation sent me down a rabbit hole for Lewis and Clark stamps.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Good to know there was a
It-
spin-off of that.
Oh yeah, there was very much a spin-off. I've always been fascinated by Lewis and Clark, so I was like, oh, okay, now I know what I'm doing. So that sent me down a bit of a rabbit hole, but it was worth it.
Good, good.
right, I'm gonna
Dennis, I have a
stop.
question, if you don't mind. It sounds like his calling card was, the style, and maybe the decorations on the corners. That seems sort of unusual from what I've seen before. But is that how you recognize this guy's artwork, or does it have to be something mailed back to him to confirm that it was really one of his?
Generally, it does not. Generally, folks can spot his work by the style, including those corner embellishments which you referred to. Henry he loved collecting, and so many of his covers, many of the ones that I've shown here, are addressed to him. They came back to him. They became part of his collection. And when you see what you think is a Steinmetz cover, usually your eyes go to the address. And if it was sent to him at the on Second Street in Los Angeles, you know it's a Steinmetz cover. Um, I have a few, and there are many examples of covers which went to other people, um, but they're still generally considered and he's generally recognized as Steinmetz covers. Um, so it's really the total of the design which sort of um, identifies them. The corner embellishment is a key, and he liked to put an outline around things. Not always. There's no outline around these eagles, at least I don't think there is. But that's also another tell for his covers. And then most every stamp and most every address have colored paper behind it, which is another tell.
And can you give me a sense of whether these are uh, collected by folk art collectors or more, you know, philatelists like us?
No, as far as I know, philatelist. Um, um, there are folks, and I'm one of them, who are always on the lookout for ones canceled aboard the Constitution. They aren't too common. Um, there are always, not always, but there are not infrequently Steinmetz covers on eBay. Um, uh, there's a couple of beautiful ones, three of them, I think, now on for sale, been there for sale for ages. A fellow wants almost $200 a piece for them on number 10 covers, large covers. Um, I typically will pay $10 to $30 or something if I find one. Um, uh, and sometimes folks don't recognize them as Steinmetz covers. And so I have a keyword search on eBay for handmade covers. And sometimes those turn up a Steinmetz cover as well as just using his name as a keyword search.
So, Dennis, are these in order of age?
No, no.
The
Uh,
reason
they
I'm asking
vary through the presentation.
the reason I'm asking is because this one and then these two have like embossing that
Yeah.
looks like his initials,
Um,
but it's not on all of them. At least not that I can see.
it's not on all of them. And I don't, maybe those are, I thought um, I thought that embossing was APS. I don't know what Henry's middle name was, rather
Oh
than
no, you're right.
H something PS. So I think it's American Philatelic Society. He was a member of APS. He was a member of the Airmail Society. He was a member of three or four different societies, philatelic societies during his life.
On this one on
Yeah.
the right, where's the address?
Pardon me?
The one on the right.
Hmm.
Where?
I think it's here. Hold on, let me get the pointer back again.
No, that one on the right, the address is almost faded away. That's one of my covers. It's when you look at the actual cover, you can sort of read it.
It's here.
Inside
It,
that? Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
If
but you
I
can't
bring it
really read it.
if I bring it back up, yeah, it's you can see like I think that's room,
Oh
the
yeah,
beginning of room.
yeah, I can kind of make out writing. Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah,
when
it's just
he printed it over that red design thing that he cut out, and when he printed it, I'm sure it was quite legible, but over the years it's faded.
Uh,
but it's kind of funny too because I mean that's faded, but the eagle and the flag are still sharp as ever. You know, the colors didn't fade on those.
Yeah, well, in the case of the address, it was he usually did typewritten addresses with a typewriter, and so it was the typewriter ink that faded, but those the eagle and so forth are printed graphics.
That's really cool. Any other questions, folks?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank you.
Dennis.
Sure,
thanks,
my
Dennis.
pleasure. Thank you. Nice to be back.
Good to have you. I'm glad you're
Great
back.
feeling.